Hello and welcome to Scratching the Gaming Itch. Today I have a game of Deadlock for you, which is this hero MOBA shooter by Valve, which honestly is really innovative and really becoming an addictive game. Honestly, probably going to be a masterpiece when it's actually out. If you don't know much about Deadlock, right now it is in kind of its alpha beta stage. I don't really know, but it's invite only. If you have a friend on Steam, they can invite you to the game. The game has been pulling pretty good numbers considering that it's still in that kind of closed alpha-ish state with over 100,000 players at times. And the game is straight fun. This is a movement shooter combined with a MOBA, losing no aspects of each. Right, League of Legends meets Overwatch times 11. This game has been honestly really addictive for me. I love shooters, I love movement shooters, I love arena shooters, and I love MOBAs. Those are kind of my two favorite PvP games, and here they were meshed together in one honestly just really good feeling game. And it's backed by Valve, so you just know it's gonna be good. I mean, now I'm sure someone in the comments is gonna correct me. I can't really think of a time where Valve really made an L of a game. Right? I can only think of like okay and then really good strong games from Valve, and that's it. And Valve has a really great reputation with gamers right now, especially with Steam and just their games in general. People may keep wishing for things like Half-Life 3 and Left 4 Dead 3, but I guess we can't count to 3. But that being said, Deadlock has 3 lanes. There's 2 heroes in each lane who kind of just fight in a really MOBA laning phase. And you fight for these minions and souls, and you're trying to get a lead on your opponent. And I'm using a build by Parzillion, which I think he's just an Eternus player, something like that, a high-ranking player who plays some Haze at times, and I usually play all the gun characters in the game. There's a lot of variety, gun characters, magic characters like ability users, and even like something junglers. I think one day this game is going to have League of Legends roles. I think it's just inevitable that that's coming. There's a lot to the game already, and I can just feel it coming on. Like the ADCs are going to be there, the supports are going to be there, junglers. It's all going to happen. I can feel it. You can kind of tell with the characters that it's coming. Like some characters are just better at certain things than other characters, and I think people just really have to realize that's an inevitable thing. Now, I won't get too much into all of the details, but I do want to help if you're a beginner with some of the things that you should be looking out for. So first and foremost, in the beginning of the game, you have what is known as a laning phase. That's when you, your partner, fight against 2 enemies, and there's constantly minions pushing your lane. You just want to push those minions forward. My suggestion, especially for beginners, is don't push up too far. Your goal is to push into their guardian, take their minions, and go. Once you've taken their minions, depending on the time, you can do certain things that will help you get a lead. For example, the camps and boxes spawn at 2 minutes. If you push a lane all the way up, rather than trying to team fight at the guardian, you can turn around and do your camp freely. And you should do that. You want soul advantage. Soul advantage is basically having level ups on your opponent, being stronger than your opponent. The bigger your soul advantage, the more likely you are to beat everyone you run into. Someone with less souls than you can probably take them in a fight, granted they aren't some kind of counter to your character. And I think that's a pretty strong reason that you should be farming probably more than you think. And farming kind of goes like this in terms of focus. You first deal with the wave. Those minions, they're a great amount of farm. Always go there first. If there's a lane open, go take the farm. You need it, you want it. It's where you're gonna get most of your farm anyway. The second thing you should focus are sinner sacrifices. If those little square boxes with circles on them on the map show up, you should go and get them. Alright, please do so. The sinners are so good. You want the 4 buffs that come with it and the extra souls that come with it. Don't just ignore them on the map. It'll make someone else really happy and really powerful. And then after that, if there's nothing else on the map, some boxes and the statues are always good. Boxes in the late game are actually really incredible because they keep on giving more souls the later the game is. And if you know box routes, then you're going to be really set in terms of that kind of farming. I don't know any box routes, and yet you'll still see in this game that I have a lot of farm over my opponents and my teammates. Which if you get that, that's your chance to win the game, right? Take advantage of it. It's great. So, outside of just farming minions and your sinner sacrifices and your boxes and statues, there are buffs that show up on 2 bridges on the map, on the left side and the right side, that honestly, if you played something like League, you can equate to a red buff or a green buff. Now that's oversimplifying it. There's a bunch of different buffs that actually appear, and ultimately just getting it helps give you an advantage over an opponent. And you're always just looking for those advantages. That's when you want to fight. When you're at an advantage, you have no reason to force fights that aren't good for you. Now, with that in mind, when it comes to forcing fights, I want you to, when you look at your map, think of kind of this line in the middle of the map. When you cross that line, you're in enemy territory. Right, you are risking your own safety if you cross the line and go past the middle point. You kind of want to, especially early on, not cross that line. If you're even, do not go up against your opponent. Don't cross the line, don't risk it. You might get ganked by more than one person, and you'll end up just giving the enemy a kill and giving them souls. You don't want to do that. That line of safety is great. Do your camps, do your sinners, and then eventually, if you're doing your farm way better than the enemy's doing their farm, you can head on over and take their farm. Or if you have some kind of advantage and you know you do, you should go and challenge their farm and force those fights. But until you have those different advantages, just watch out with the whole fighting past the midline. It's actually probably more dangerous than you think. Now, another thing I want to bring up is the builds. The builds are honestly pretty complicated and overwhelming at the start, as they are with any MOBA. Now, Deadlock has put a lot of work into making this game less complicated, more user-friendly, and honestly, even now, like with the most recent big update, I have felt like this game has been pretty close to ready for release. Yeah, it's not perfect. Yeah, there's issues. But honestly, the gameplay is so good, and a lot of things are working so well, that it's sometimes hard to remember that this is still in a closed kind of alpha form. It's just really, they're really cooking something good here. But with the items, you're going to be overwhelmed at first, and that's okay. Find a build that you think works really well for you, and honestly, that's going to change everything. I remember a YouTuber told me to just pick one of the top builds, use it, and you're going to do fine. That is not always true. My biggest experience with that was as a Viper. I picked one of the top builds, and I was not fine. In fact, I did terrible multiple rounds in a row, and part of me was like, man, why is that? Then I switched to a different top build, and I really started doing well with Viper. So I'm not gonna say that you can pick any top build and be fine, but pick a top build, learn what some of these items are and what they're doing for you, and start to make your own decisions about what you need and what you may not need. Yes, you will and should have to start with those top builds. And now you can see here, just a quick side note, I turn around for minions. Right, this is a MOBA. In a MOBA, you don't really want to fight in front of your minions. You want to bring your minions with you. Your minions do damage. It's just something to think about. I think a lot of people lose the fact that this is a MOBA. They didn't hold anything back from the MOBA standpoint. It looks like a movement shooter. It feels like a movement shooter, but it still is a MOBA at its core. And remembering about your minions, your farm, and pushing waves is important factors in this game. And then even here, I go to try and steal a camp. I think it's safe. Just keep in mind, do you have advantage? Do you not? Right, you can see my farm versus theirs. I'm doing pretty good, so I think this is safe. I see some enemies on the left lane, so I think I'm fine. Back to the items again. Sorry, the items are kind of a lot. So you see here, I had bought 2 gun items first, the orange colored items, an active reload and a form of dash. There's a reason for that. One of those items is 1600. One of those items is 3200, hitting a 4800 power spike. And now I'm buying some green items to have more health and more survivability. And I'm gonna do the same thing. Buy a 1600 item, buy a 3200 item to hit the 4800 power spike. Once you start playing the game more, you'll understand exactly what that is, but just know hitting 4800 in any category is a really big deal, that it increases your power significantly, and you'll want to start to do that, and probably as fast as you can, which has caused me to even differentiate from the build order, from the build I'm using. Right, I don't really like to use their order. I think it kind of makes me weaker early, and I don't really want that. I just want to be strong as fast as possible. I don't really view Hayes as a amazing late gamer. I mean, she kind of is better than some others, that's for sure, but I really think her peak is in the mid-late game rather than super late. Right around that 30-minute mark, I would say that Hayes is really peaking as a character and really hard to deal with. But yeah, that being said, 4800 in gun and in the greens for your life and purple for spirit are all good, and they all really help your damage and your power spikes, which is a wonderful thing. It helps you really win your fights. Even your abilities have certain power spikes as well that you want to keep track of. Your abilities, you can put points into them. And honestly, you should read up on those points, right? Because those points actually do something or change your abilities in some kind of way. Whether you get better cooldown, more damage, or other various kind of buffs. You really gotta look into it, decide what's worth it so that you can put your own points in on your abilities at the right time. Like for Hayes, it's kind of a no-brainer that it's fixation all the way. Then after that, there are a lot of opinions out there about what you could max. Just decide what's right for you. Whether that's maxing invis, your ulti, it really depends on your situations and what you think is best. And that being said, right now in the game, we are pretty close in souls. I mean, I'm doing pretty well. I think I still have the most souls right now. It's just not by much. And later on in the game, it will be by a lot, because you'll see throughout, I continue farming the souls from the minions. Then I go to sinners. Then I go to boxes as best as I can. So really, that's kind of what you should be doing as well. Boxes, well, camps before boxes too. But that's just kind of the rhythm to keep in mind, and always be watching the timer for those 5-minute bridge buffs that show up all the time, right? Be watching of the timer for even sinners to reappear, right? And all of that stuff that you have to keep in mind here. If you notice, I'm past the halfway line. I'm in enemy territory. I heard the paradox and I got out of there, because I know this is a replay and you can see exactly where the enemies are on the map, but in game you actually can't see that. And I wasn't sure, like, was it paradox, was it more than paradox? So I left. Alright, better safe than sorry. No need to feed the enemy a kill. Right, whenever you are past the halfway line, really truly look at your soul count, look at their soul count, look at where the enemies are on the map if you see any of them. And when you hear someone, be wary of where your teammates are too. You don't just want to be a sitting duck in this game. This is a team game after all. Make sure you're actually with your team, or at least know where they are and where the enemy might be, based on where your team is. There's a lot of times in here where I'm pushing lane when my team is team fighting, and I know my lane is going to be free because of how many enemies that I see in the other lanes fighting my team. Right, and here, this is pretty unfortunate. Paradox starts to steal my sinners. Again, it's all about risk and reward. You hear someone, you bring your teammates in, right? They found an advantage against me, and that's always a good thing. And even right now, the enemy team is actually ahead a little bit in souls. They're probably farming better as a whole. And one thing you see here, my team, they're getting into a team fight, so it's not too big of a deal. But there's a lot of times in the game where you can watch them on the map and see that 3 of them are farming the same lane and the same minions. And I want to say that at that point, it's no longer worth it. The ideal for me is 2 people show up in lane and farm the minion souls. Once you're past 2, you are losing out on souls, and you probably shouldn't be there anymore if you want to maximize your farm. At least that's the way I see it, and that's the way that I've been treating it throughout this game so far. Is once there's more than 2 people there, I am gonna go do something else, whether that's sinners or boxes or other minion camps. All really depends on what's going on the map. Maybe there's another lane that needs help, and instead I will go and do all of that stuff just to make sure that we are maximizing our farm as a team. I wouldn't even say that that's a bad thing. I would say, hey, if you are farming, that's fantastic. And here I hear this poor soul hitting the sinners, and I decide, hey, you took the risk and you did not get the reward for crossing that middle line. So that's kind of one of those things, right? Constantly think about, hey, if I'm crossing 2 enemy lines, who might I run into? You don't really want to run into a Haze who's above you in souls. That's never a good thing, especially if her ult is up. Which honestly brings me to one of the finer points in this game. Make sure your ultimate is whether your ultimate's up or their ultimate's up, that you're actually paying attention to that. You will want to know if the Lady Geist's ult is up before running at her and she swaps health with you. Right? You don't want to be caught off guard by that. You'll want to know if the Lash ult is up to know if he's going to try and just come straight into the lane and send all of you flying. Right? It'll be a huge advantage for him. Here, we actually stay because there's quite a few of us, and I thought, hey, maybe we can actually take this walker in a team fight. But that did not work out very well for me, and now I'm stuck here watching the silver run the urn, which is another good thing, right? So on the map, there are some events like the urn, which you can run, and when you run an urn, you actually get a pretty good amount of souls, and the person who turned it in gets some buffs. which are always helpful to them. And honestly, even the haze, as I've been getting statues and different centers, I've been increasing buffs on my character, which has been doing a couple of different things, which are just really good overall. Some things are great for my haze, is I've been getting more bullet magazine size from the statues and buffs. I've been getting more bullet damage from the magazine size. So here, you may be wondering why I didn't go for the farm, and instead I was checking the people. I saw a lot of their health was low from the last team fight, and I knew that I could take them. Here you have Lash. I don't know what he was thinking. I had my ulti up, he didn't have his, and he dropped on me. Yeah, he had a lot of initial burst damage, but he really needed to finish the job there if he wanted that kill on a haze, especially a haze with an ulti. Again, being aware of the ultimates is actually pretty important. Now, I'm not the best movement person, and I'm sure you can see that throughout this video, but that part really just stuck out to me as kind of like a whoa, kind of suck at this, which actually is another part I like about Deadlock. There's so much to learn, right? You can get better at this game every day you play it, the people that you watch. Genuinely, you should watch others play the game and figure some things out that they're doing that you want to implement into your gameplay. Right? For me, one of the bigger turning points was learning about jump dashes and other movement tech with the wall jumps and things. And I've been able to move just a little bit faster than I used to in the Deadlock, which has been really helpful in getting around the map. Here I should have taken his centers while he was sleeping. That was just a heat of the moment decision. And then Venator ulties. It was unfortunate. Good thing they nerfed his ult, otherwise I would have been slammed right there really hard. And somehow I got out alive. And here I even just started backing off. I got really hurt, which is unfortunate. Another quick little tip that I've learned throughout my games is that you want to go to the secret shop more than you want to back. There are shops on the left and right under the bridges or under the bridge buffs, and they're a great way to buy some items without going full back. And that's about saving time, maximizing your time, and being able to just stay out on the map and continue to farm souls to stay higher than everyone else. Which, really, that is what a MOBA is. If you don't want to farm, you probably shouldn't really play the MOBA, because it's all about getting your advantages over your opponents. And yeah, there's a lot of mechanics behind it, but ultimately someone with good mechanics is going to have a harder time against someone who has farmed well, even if they win, right? I mean, normally they're not supposed to win, and if they were of equal skill and one had more farm, then the person with more farm would win. It's just how MOBAs work and have always worked. I actually really enjoy that. It's part of the addictive gameplay loop for me. Here I accidentally used Fury Trance before my ulti. I meant to use it after, but we still got the kill and ulted. But yeah, you need to farm up. That's part of my kind of addiction to MOBAs, is I love the whole getting stronger process, and I really enjoy repeating that cycle over and over again. It's weird. It's like I feel this need to restart on an MMO if I haven't played it in a long time. I want to experience it like I'm a new player. So a MOBA kind of fits right there with me every single time, every single game. I'm experiencing it like it's a new play with some more knowledge than before, so I get to use that knowledge and do better than the last time. And honestly, that formula for me, that kind of, farm these minions, get stronger than your opponents, outplay them, is just really fun. And understanding where I'm at versus my opponents, very addicting, right? And there's all these different characters who do different things, and eventually you just find characters you like to play. You play them a lot, you get way better at them, and you go from there. And honestly, there's another thing for Deadlock, MOBAs in general. Don't try and play the whole roster. Unless you are super amazing at the game somehow and you can pick things up insanely fast, and maybe even then I wouldn't recommend it too much. The reason for that is Deadlock and other MOBAs, you can kind of think of them as like fighting games where you have a lot to learn from a character, right? A lot to learn about the abilities, a lot to learn about the items they're going to use, a lot to learn about their own movement, and that's all really complicated, right? Are you going to use abilities? Are you going to use gun? And figuring that out on one character is difficult, let alone 40 characters. Even in fighting games, you wouldn't want to learn all the combos of one character and then move on to the next, right? You're going to be worse at some characters than others. That is one of those inevitable things. You should definitely decide some characters you like and go from there. And for me, that's a lot of the what's known as M1 characters, the gun characters in the game. I enjoy that. I have a lot of fun with it. I play characters, and not all of these are M1, but I play characters like Haze, Viper, I play Mina, I play Venator, and Wraith, and Seven. But yeah, it's just kind of characters I like. I definitely don't play them all. I'll never be on Lash, probably. I'm not going to play Billy. I have no plans to. Even though Billy is like one of my, I don't know, I kind of hate him. I guess he's one of my kryptonite characters. Here, I traded the left side towers for a mid buff. Definitely wasn't worth it. But this fight is actually pretty good for us considering they all have rejuve. We actually win the fight here, I would say, overall. Because it could be a lot worse. Killing the Viper there twice. Doing a lot of good damage on this guy. Hitting the sleep. Right, like there's just all kinds of things not going well for them here. Even the Paradox dies. And right, all this whole time I'm still pushing the minion waves. So you don't want to forget about them, even in team fights. Again, minions do damage. You don't want to be caught off guard. Here, they still have one more rejuve, and it wasn't looking so hot anymore for me, so I got myself out of there. I wanted to go back and farm, right? The process of continuing to get really strong. And you can see that the right lane, there's minions pushing, which I just noticed too. There's a huge wave on the left side that I was going to go to, but this wave was more important. And while I'm doing this, right, they're still fighting in mid, so they aren't really getting farm. That whole rule of 2 people in the lane for farming, I really think is the most ideal. When there's more than that, you can forget about getting farm. It's just not going to be that great. Thankfully, my team here is actually doing pretty well in a 5v6, which I've left them to. And I can still see the enemy. I know I can take on anyone who comes over because my farm is better than theirs. And so I'm counting on that if someone does come on over. And I'm here to take this walker. Now, anytime your team loses a team fight but you get a walker out of it, I'm going to say it's worth it. I think this silver is wrong. This silver said, hey, you know, doing objectives is great, but fight with us so we can catch up. I took a walker. Taking the objectives and farming are how you catch up in a MOBA, not team fights. If you want to completely go ahead and keep bashing your head into a wall when you're trying to fight an enemy that's stronger than you, go ahead. But if you want to catch up to the enemy, you gotta farm. And that being said, I knew I was really ahead and that I could really do whatever I wanted against this enemy team. So that's what happens here. I just kind of walk up behind him, ulti, and my team does really great work there, honestly. You saw that Abrams pushed that Billy, I think it was, yeah, across the paradox wall, like without going into it. Really incredible. Good work by my team there. I really appreciate them. You can't do this without a team that does work together well and fight together. So that was all good in that team fight. And if you didn't know, you can actually hold tab and you can look at the map and see the times for mid buff or mid boss, things like that, so that you can go there and be ready for the next mid, which really I think a lot of teams need to do more of. Mid bosses tend to stick around a lot without being taken, which is weird. End game, obviously they get taken a lot, but it's kind of weird they sit there for like 20 minutes before anyone even tries. I think just part of it is people are scared of getting wiped there and don't want to be wrecked by the enemy. So here I'm just getting some more of Parzilion's build, some of the late game items. Actually, towards the end of this, and this is how you know, like, I think Hayes' peak at about 30 minutes or so, because I do some really good farming in this game, that I didn't really know what else to build after a couple more items here. Right, so there's a good kill and pick. And I'm always thinking, when there's a pick, are there any objectives on the map that I can do that will give us even more of an advantage? If they're one person down, is there a walker that's still up that needs to get destroyed? Is there a lane that needs to be shoved? Is mid-boss up and can we take it? Right, those are things that you want to think about when you're playing this game. What kind of advantages can you get, and how can you continue to push your lead on the enemy? Right now you can see my soul count at 44k. I should be able to beat anyone on the enemy team in a 1v1, which is really good news for me. It's really impactful to the game. Even though our souls were actually down, we still kind of have an advantage just because I am a really big threat for the enemy team right now. They're going to have a hard time dealing with me because my farm is just so far ahead of theirs. My build is better than theirs. Right? I have probably one extra item over them, an extra 6,400 item over them, which in games like this will make you able to destroy your opponents, right? This is a MOBA first and a shooter, and they both are all here, like every single part of it. Here we have 3 pauses as someone's trying to take a break. I'll never really understand this aspect of Valve games, but they seem to like to give us the ability to pause. Right, I'm sure you can use these more tactically, even like if you wanted to pause and discuss what you're about to do to someone on the enemy team. I'm sure you could do that. If you wanted to plan a massive gank from every side, I'm sure you could during these pauses. Haven't really seen it used for that right now, just seen it used to just pause the game. Sometimes they even be annoying. Sometimes they just pause it right at the start for fun. Sometimes computers crash, but that's all I've really seen the pauses being used for. Again, not a perfect game, so sometimes I get the little crashing things, but they can lead to some pretty funny memes, and pause lock is real at times, especially when they're pausing before you can even see who paused right at the beginning of the game. If you didn't know that and you're about to be a pause abuser, well, I did it to myself, so I guess that's cool. But yeah, in this game I've actually, if you haven't tried Deadlock, you can get some friends to help you out, and it's really fun, especially with friends, but it's even fun alone. If you don't want to be addicted to a game, then yeah, probably don't play Deadlock. Right, if you want your free time, if you don't want to play at least an hour a day of this game, maybe don't try Deadlock. But if if you have some free time and you like MOBAs and you enjoy shooters, this game is for you. I remember one time, because again, I love shooters and I love MOBAs and I love MMOs. There was one time where I thought, wow, Destiny's gonna be great, a shooter MMO. That's gonna be so much fun for me. And then Destiny came out. I liked Destiny 1 a bit. I mean, it wasn't quite an MMO, but it was still a lot of fun. And Destiny 2, when it came out, I don't remember too much about it, but as I played it, it was pretty good. Though now I wouldn't play it anymore. I don't really know what happened with Destiny, honestly. Just a lot of DLC and what felt like ultimately a subscription MMO, but I wasn't getting subscription MMO quality, I guess, is what it became. Now that poor Lash, I always, you hate it when it happens to you, and it feels so good when it happens to the enemy. Which is just, it's fun for me. I don't know. Deadlock can bring the highest highs and the lowest lows, which is also what makes it so addicting too, right? It feels incredible to be way ahead of your enemy and to just absolutely delete them. It feels awful to be way behind your enemy and be the ones being deleted. Here I actually bought my final item in my build. I did not know where I was going to go from here. I was going to continue farming and do my best to become even stronger than this. And if in the comments you have some ideas of what I should be building next, or maybe even things I should not have built, then let me know. Here I jumped down to mid-boss because I thought, hey, we got one more advantage over them. And then here I was like, wow, now we really have to do mid-boss, because he was trying to jump down to hide and ran into me, who thought we could go do it with the other guy dead. Here I'm just standing there hitting mid-boss. Maybe one day they're gonna change the way mid-boss looks, the way they did the bases as well, which would be great. Mid-boss is like a giant booger right now. But for me, just this game's a ton of fun, and if you want to try it, if you don't have any friend that can invite you, I mean, I can invite you. Like, if that's really what you need, let me know that too. But yeah, here are the buffs. This game is actually going to end pretty soon. So let me know in the comments if you want more Deadlock videos, if you are interested in the game, if you have a favorite MOBA you play or a favorite shooter you play right now. Because I'm just interested. And maybe even what are your thoughts on Overwatch and kind of the return of that hero shooter. To me, that was a big surprise, right? I had no idea. Here, the final decision, I looked at my souls compared to the enemies and I said, okay, we gotta try and push the end. We have rejuve and just a huge advantage over the enemy. I'm really strong right now, and I don't know what else to buy, right? I have 9k souls, so here I get actually really ruined by these enemies. The Viper takes me out, but I knew we had rejuve, and that when I came back I was gonna be a bit of a menace. Still at my slowing hex and my ulti, and this Lash graciously gives me the opportunity. Right? He should not have ulted me here. He knew I had the advantage. They should have killed me from a distance. He gave me a chance to get in and actually end the game there. Right, which again, great feeling. Feels bad to be an enemy who's receiving the press button win moment. But really, the reason why I can press a button and win is because of how much ahead I am, right, compared to the enemy. That's just something you gotta do in a MOBA. You can't really let that go. Right, so let me know if you've been having some fun playing Deadlock in the comments as well. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on Deadlock and Valve and how they're doing on the game, and what you would like to see in the future. For me, I can't really think of anything too much. Like, do the fixes on some of the items and you got yourself a release. So I'm just curious what other people want to see, what they think is really missing that makes this game still alpha. That would be interesting to read and to talk about with you guys. So here you can see MVP. Again, really strong game. Most healing just from shooting people. And most objective damage. Got the most souls.